Hi, I'm Sue Kappas of Kappas Creations. Today I'm going to show you how to make the double wide Dresden plate quilt. It is a me and my sister's design, and along with that is a ruler for the double wide Dresden. I'm using the line of fabric by me and my sister designs. It's a moda fabric and it's called Rainy Day. What I'm using is the layer cakes, 10-inch layer cakes, or it is also a fat quarter friendly pattern. With the layer cake, you're going to want to cut it in half so you have a 5-inch wide piece of fabric. So I'm going to take my Creative Grids ruler, 6.5 inch by 12.5. It's one of my favorite rulers that I like to use. And I love the Creative Grids because they're clear with the black lines and very easy to see. With this, now that it's 5 inches, this ruler will go all the way up to an 8-inch grid, so you can make your Dresden plates any size, but for this particular pattern, I am doing 5-inch. So I'm putting the 5-inch line at the very bottom, and I hold the ruler firmly. Cutting is not a race, so you want to just simply make sure you have a firm hold on it. Slide that away, flip your ruler around, make your next cut, and using this method, you can see that I can get 3 out of 1 strip, so that means you'll get 6 of the same fabric using your layer cake. You're going to need a total of 160, so it's going to be great. The next thing we're going to do, so we're done with the ruler. After you get all of those made, is we're going to sew them together. So you're going to take them, fold them in half, and you're going to stitch from this end here and then from this on this end. Once you've done that, you are going to turn them. Before you turn them, I want you to take your scissors, and I'm using Karen Buckley's shears, and I want you to trim the point off of each end. I like to have nice, sharp, crisp points. Then finger press this and flip them over. I'm using this applique tool, and it's got a little flat end to work as a little iron, and it's great for pushing the points out. If you don't have that, you can always use your straight pin and pull the points gently out. Then I'm using today Steady Betty pressing surface, which I love. It anchors your fabric very well, and I'm using the steam pressed small mini iron. So instead of using and working with a large iron that gets heavy and tiring, this is a great little iron to use when you have so many little pieces and little areas to press. So you're just simply going to press, and it also has an area for steam, so you can make this steam or dry. So you get that nice and pressed, and then you are going to sew 10 of these together and to make a circle. So you're going to line up the edges and stitch them. Excuse me. Once you have a circle completely made, press the seams open and have it looking great. I'll push all this aside, and you're going to take your background fabric and you're going to fold it in half and then fold it in half again so you have it in quarters. You can use the end of your little pressing tool, or you can just finger press it. We just want a slight crease there so we can center our Dresden plate on this. So I take the point of these opposite sides and the valley of this side, and I line them up, and that will tell me that I have this centered without having to go to excessive measuring. So that gives us a good center. Pin it, anchor it down. Go to your sewing machine, and then you are going to stitch all the way around, outside and inside. I'm going to recommend that it be as close to the edge as you possibly can. 1/8 of an inch away will be simply too far apart. So you are just simply going to come and you are going to stitch on the very, very edge. I started a seam, go all the way around. When I get back to where I started, sew right in the ditch and then continue around the inside. That way you don't have to do so many stops and starts. And you can see my tails here, and I use my byannie.com is where you can find this. By Annie's stiletto. I love it. The nice wooden handle is easy to hold. It also has a flat end for pressing. But you can see these little threads, the tails from my seams. Instead of worrying about them, when I'm sewing, I just simply tuck them under and keep sewing. And it just works great. So whenever you have things that might be bunching up, use your stiletto and keep it handy. I keep this at my sewing machine. I keep my Karen Buckley scissors at my sewing machine. And those are two tools that I use every time I sit down to sew. You'll get 15 of the, you'll get 16 of these made. And you're going to put them in 4 rows, 4 across. And it will make a 60 by 60 inch quilt that will be perfect for any occasion. So I hope you give it a shot. Try making the double wide Dresden. That is a me and my sister design. Thank you. So lower your stitch length so you don't have to, when you are chain stitching, so you don't have to worry about back stitching, and you don't need to worry about your seams coming undone. And I usually use 2. Fold them. And I put black thread in here. I would normally use white or gray, and I'm using Arfil thread. That's my favorite thread of choice when I am piecing. It's a great thread, strong, but fine. So just chain pieces in here. You have a lot to make. You have to make like 160. So you just want to chain piece them. And that's all that you're going to do. Just keep pushing them right in with about 1/4 of an inch between them. And then once you've done the one end, just snip them and feed the other end in. Use your 1/4 inch foot. And that's how you'll piece them. So once you have them all pieced and turned and pressed, then you're going to put them together. And the reason I want to show you how to do that is because if they don't all line up perfectly, so I like to start here at the wide end. I found that this stiletto, my stiletto is by Annie, and I love it because it's easy to hold on to. It's got a nice grip, and now if you can see, my points are even, but I'm not quite even here. So as I come down, I can just get my stiletto in here, and I can even that out. And it makes so that my seams are exactly the same size as I come down to the end. And once again on these, because I do back stitch on this when I'm piecing these. So that's what that looks like. And then they're going to be open up like so. Now let's go back to the cutting table.